Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Stevie B, aka Hassan Labduni. Welcome to TLE Radio. And yes, you did read that title correctly. Donald Trump is the white savior that black people need today in this day and age. Donald Trump is the chosen, what's right for blacks today. I'm not having a Kanye West moment. We are going to dig into this. Just listen in. Donald Trump is exactly what Africans in America need. He is the chosen one. He was ordained by the Creator for a time such as this to liberate the children of God. A freaking men. When it came down to Hillary versus Trump for the 2016 election, I immediately began heralding the benefits of a Trump presidency. Donald is president so blacks can tear off their own chains and truly be free to live long and prosper. Now, through executive orders and brass tack negotiations, the art of the deal, Mr. Trump has empowered more black men than any president since Lincoln. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Because I know these statements are inflammatory to some. I know these remarks, these comments are rubbing many people the wrong way. So let's be clear here as far as the direction that this is going and why Donald Trump is exactly what blacks need as a president in this time. Servicing your every need is not and should not be the role of government. That is not how you empower people. Giving you free food all the time, free housing, free this, and free that is not how the government looks out for the common interests of the people. Don't forget the ideology that you only truly value things more when it doesn't come to you easy, when you work for it. When you work for it, you value it more. Case in point, Home A is subsidized and given to black family to live in. They did not work for the home. They did not try to break the cycle of victimhood and capitalize on the benefits. They were just given a home to live in. Home B was purchased by a black family with the assistance of a mortgage loan. The black family had endless hoops to jump through in order to qualify for the loan and eventually get it. They cut back drastically on their own expenses while working extra hours. They denied themselves a momentary phase of happiness and living in order to make it through the home buying process. Now, because Home A is missing the pride of ownership, the black family there gives the home little respect or value. Why should they care? It's not really theirs. At any moment, the landlord could just say, F it, get out. So there is little responsibility, little care for the home that is placed on that black family. The place becomes unkempt, filthy, and more. Home B, on the other hand, is blessed to have a family that understands the pride of ownership. The struggle they went through to call this place their own motivates them to keep the home as nice and presentable as possible. Because they had to work for it, they valued it more. We say the same thing to children. When you work for it, instead of just being given this and given that, you value it more. Work ethic. So why is it that we can say this to children, but we cannot say this to black folks? Are black people seen as less than children, less competent, less understanding, less resourceful, less responsible than children? Come on, dog. Come on, dog. Now, for real, I'm black, and I don't want everything just handed to me. Let me work for it. Let me value it more. Let me have the pride of ownership. Let me say I did it with little to no assistance, and I made it here. That is where we at. Now, under the last 8 years, under Democrat rule, blacks have been conditioned to feel entitled and to have a certain expectation of government assistance. Surely the gluttony of black group thought would have crushed the race under the weight of its own indulgence. Now, remarking that, I knew in order to cut the fat, black people had to cut off its enablers, its handlers. Trump brought the reality that black people needed back into focus. We, as a people, cannot ignore that in order to be competitive as a global community, we can't rely on the hands of those who keep us boxed in and held down to help us win. These people only promote lethargy, complacency. Instead of changing your position or situation, they tell you to change your perspective and say that your position or situation is not so bad at all. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? They tell you your current position and situation is not so bad at all. You can live and maintain right there. You don't need to reach higher. You don't need to reach for the stars of the sky. You don't need to do better. People, they were mad that freaking Obama told the black men, the black youth, to stop chasing women, stop chasing hoes, stop chasing twerking, stop chasing wealth. I don't agree with the wealth part. There's a way to chase wealth. He should have been a little bit more specific. Not say don't chase wealth by hustling illegally, because all these other mugs are chasing wealth and they getting where they get. They getting where they get. So, not with Donald Trump though. He will gladly be the lightning rod, the catalyst that jumpstarts the self-liberation of black people all around the country. Now, if you take a look at what has happened in the 2 years he's been president, his polarizing demeanor and speech has mobilized people on both sides of the aisle. If we zoom in a little further, we find there are more black people doing more for their communities than before. More are organizing and banding together to bring out a significant change. More blacks have mobilized under a Trump presidency in the last 2 years than the 8 years under Obama. More communities are doing more locally. More businesses are opening up. More black families are staying together. More money is being spent to buy up the block and keep the money circulating longer in the black community under Donald Trump than any other president before him in modern times. Since, of course, the Tulsa race riots and all that other stuff. Because we know there was a time, well, let's put it like this, since integration. Since integration. That's key. More money is being spent to buy up the block and keep money circulating longer in the black community under Donald Trump than any other president since the beginning of integration. There it is. I just went there since integration. Because when segregation was enforced, when segregation was the rule of law, the rule of the land, black money had no choice but to circulate multiple times within the black community, causing black communities to actually prosper and become competitive, threatening white communities. You should thank Donald Trump that he's getting us back to focusing where we need to focus. All that's left for Donald Trump to do now is go ahead and reinstate segregation. And boy, Africans will run the world again. Don't keep playing. Now, with the reduction of food assistance and employment assistance, more communities of color are looking inward for the answers, for the solutions. What we should have been doing from the beginning. Yes, we didn't need Donald Trump to bring us to that point. But guess what? Obama didn't bring us to that point. Bush didn't bring us to that point. Clinton didn't bring us to that point. Bush Sr. didn't bring us to that point. Reagan didn't bring us to that point. Trump's polarizing figure is what's bringing us to that point. You owe Trump that. You owe Trump that. Now, we should not have generation after generation after generation of black people living off of government assistance as if it's the only life they have, as if it's the only life they know. Many times, they think they are getting off on the government until Uncle Sam decides that the well has run dry. You're not getting off on the government. The government is getting off on you. The government is getting off on you. Because why? You think you're getting off on the government because the government's giving you this, the government's giving you that, the government's funding your life? the government's making you dependent. So when it's time to pull the rug out from under your feet, you are not competitive. You could not stay competitive because you were made complacent by government assistance. So once big government becomes small government, because that's what we talk about, we want small government, small government. And look at Trump's presidency now. Look at his administration. He's missing a lot of department heads. Small government, right? Small government. Donald J. Trump is not for black people. Let me repeat this, because I know this whole thing so far has been how great Donald Trump has been for black people. He's not intentionally doing this for black people. Let's get this straight now. Donald J. Trump is not for black people, but he is the white savior that black people have been waiting on to return. He is the spark that has ignited a movement after movement for a better alternative through his strategic policy making and outburst sharing and tweeting. If Trump is doing anything right, he's letting you know what's on his mind. And that's all we can ask for, right? Because we can no longer live off of the government. That is not what the government is here to do. The government is here to govern the country, not sustain your everyday lifestyle for generation after generation after generation after generation. Black people. Call me a coon. Say I'm hating. Say what you want. But don't be mad at me for someone trying to empower you. Don't be mad at me for that. Don't be mad at me for someone trying to make you do better, try better, reach for the stars, reach higher, become something bigger. Don't be mad at me for that. Be mad at your laziness for not wanting to do that. Be mad at yourself for not wanting to already do that without the need for motivation from outside influences. Be mad at yourself for not wanting to shake the shackles of poverty and victimhood and racism and all those stupid things that we keep crying out and going out and just making ourselves formidable, competitive, threatening. Be mad at yourselves for that. This is TLE Radio. Yet another stark and raging editorial from Hassan Labdouni. Food for thought. Thank you.